Hey, I want to tell you what's going on with the shocks on the SCX2. Really happy with the way the truck is sitting now. I want to tell you why we changed the shocks around the way that we did, and kind of what do we consider to be a good setup for a scale truck like this. I think there's some important notes to make that sort of I'll tell you about that help us decide how to do a truck setup. One of the things that is really the key for me is finding a setup that actually looks like it's supposed to be on the truck. I really don't want the body jacked up. I don't want too much gap here in the wheel well because that doesn't really look like a factory truck. And you know, this truck still has the factory bumpers on it, and because of that, it has to have that just stock looking, you know, characteristic to it. I decided to stick the GCM Mini Mag rim on there, and the Pitbull Growler 1.5 tire is in there with a nice foam setup that we like. And so the body is pretty heavy. You could have a whole bunch of top heavy roll on it, but with the way that these tires and foams are set up, they should be able to hold it on the rocks really nice and side hilling and stuff. And we don't really want to scratch it up and everything, so it's kind of nice to have a tire that, you know, actually will hold its own. And they'll work really well. The body is from eBay. There's a link in the description box so you can see what it's called. It's actually called a 1-10 LC80 Land Cruiser. You can search that on eBay and you'll probably find a bunch of these for sale. It comes with clear headlight buckets, like lens covers. It comes with mirrors. It comes with all kinds of stuff in there, wipers and everything, and it's a really nice setup. We're doing this body to set it up sort of as a Canada Forestry Services kind of a truck, and so we've gone with the forest green color. We've got the sort of titanium overtones on the bumper covers, and then we've got all the flat black trim that's supposed to go with the lid, and so that's the theme that we're going with. We're going to do some graphics and stripe kits and stuff that go with the Canada Forestry Services. And because this is a factory truck that you would see sort of like a park ranger driving or something like that, we didn't need a whole lot of real off-road travel on the suspension. We need something kind of stockish. And one of the things that drives us not only is the look, how the tire fits in the body and all that, but also how does the tire stuff in the wheel well when it's at full travel. So that actually matters a lot to me, because if you try to do a truck video and the tire is actually up inside the hood over here, and all you can see is the bottom half of the rim because like the tire is stuffed in so bad you can't even see half the tire, I don't know what to say. That's not realistic at all. So when a tire gets stuffed on a full-size car, it kind of looks like that. And in this case, it still steers, so that's a nice place to put the tire. And in the back, it's exactly the same. So, you know, even if I push this all by hand, let's just say that the interior is in it and it's fully weighted, that's the tire stuff that I'm getting right there. And, you know, that's going to be more than enough for scale trucking in Class 1. Or just or doing Adventure Series or doing G6. I mean, there's so much good trailing out there that's not, you know, comping weird angles, you know, through Utah, like because we just around here we certainly don't have that kind of terrain to, you know, do Moab with one of these. And if you were going to do Moab with one of these, it wouldn't look like this. It'd have a big ARB bumper and it'd be lifted on some bigger tires, and you'd have you know, a whole lot of beef going on. You wouldn't have the factory running boards on it either. So we're trying to create a suspension setup that actually looks like a factory truck. Now, show you what I did with the shocks. Here's how we get the body off, by the way, for those of you who are interested. You just pull on the front bumper and it stretches out just enough to lift over the mount. We'll talk about the mounts at a different video, but I want to show you the shock absorbers here. Have a look at how we set these up. We lowered the chassis so that the chassis would actually sit at a nice spot on the rocker panels. we took off the SCX2 rocker protectors that were on here on the side plates. We took them off, and then we aligned the chassis in the body properly with the mounts. And then if you see on the shock absorbers, we've actually put the icons together with an inside spring in the shock body. So in each one of the shocks, between the piston and the double O-ring seat at the base of the shock body, there's actually an internal spring, and it's right inside. So inside the shock is a small spring. It's bigger than a pen spring, but you get the idea. And then we use the single stage spring that's on the shock, wheeled all the way down to the bottom to give it some stiffness, because the body's heavy and we've got a lot of weight in the front of the truck. And then we put a 60 weight shock oil in it, and 60 weight makes the suspension movement nice and slow. It looks really good stock. It doesn't bounce. At slow speeds you get a really nice smooth crawling out of it. And the other thing that this suspension setup does, the way that we have it set up right now, is we've actually really flattened out the link geometry, because the shocks are slightly shorter and they're mounted lower onto the link bolt instead of up a few millimeters onto the shock mount. So by doing that, we've actually flattened out the link geometry, which just improves things all the more. Everybody knows that the flatter you've got your link geometry here, the better your torque twist and side hilling control and all of that stuff just gets better by the second as soon as you can get the links flat. So as flat as you can, do that. My recommendation for suspension setups for my long wheelbase comp trucks like this, I want the top links to be flat as they can, and the bottom links coming up just slightly. So the top ones are flat, the bottom ones rise toward the center. And the way that we have this set up on the truck is I think the front wheel caster is about 2 or 3 degrees towards the tail. So the front caster is just slightly back, and that'll help a lot with the side hill steering. So that's our shock setup, and we're going to move on to body mounts and stuff for the next video, so stay tuned.